So let's just start with the first steps in SQL. Okay. The first step is to create a database. I hope you remember how to create a database. Can you tell me how to create a database?
Create database name.
Correct. Now, the correct syntax, or I would say the more optimal way of writing the SQL query is create database. Then in the square bracket, we will write if not exists database name. Okay. So first, can you help me in creating a database with the name of sales? Just give me the query for that.
Create database
Create
sales.
database sales. All right. Now let's just execute this. To execute this, there are two ways. One is to click on this lightning sign, and the other one is to press Control and Enter. So I'm pressing Control Enter. Okay. Now in the action output at the bottom, can you see this error coming?
Yeah.
Cannot create
Yeah,
database. Sales.database exists.
already exist. So we have
Because
to write if not exist.
if not exist. Now, if not exist verifies if a database with the same name exists already. Now, this square brackets around the statement is the optional. If you omit it, your SQL query will still execute, but it will end up in an error if there is already a database, right? But if I write it, if not exists, and then if I run this, now did you see the difference? Earlier it was the red sign, that means an error. Now whenever there is an error, your SQL code will stop. If you remember, I showed you the long query that I wrote, right? Now if there is any error in any of the line, my SQL code will stop there only. It will not execute the below lines. But if there is a warning, it will still go ahead and execute the below lines. So sometimes it is very important to write these statements. Now, if database is already there, can you help me in dropping that database first? I want to delete the database of sales and then I want to create it again. So what is a command for that?
So
Drop
we
database sales.
Drop database
Sales.
sales.
we
There
can
is
directly say
drop database sales. Sorry, what did you say?
can't we directly drop it?
No, we have to write the queries, right?
Yeah.
We can do that to drop it.
Yeah.
There is the option of drop schema. But
Yeah.
since we want to learn the SQL while writing it, so that's why we will write every command.
Okay.
Okay, now if I execute this, my sales is gone and again there is a green sign. That means my command got executed successfully. Now if I again run this, again I'm getting an error. Now what should I write in here if I want a warning instead of an error? So to
If
create
exists.
correct, if exists. Now I'm just saying drop the database if it exists, otherwise go to the next line. Correct? And now you will see I will not run one statement at a time. What I'm going to do, I'm going to press Control Shift Enter or this command, this lightning sign and this exclamation. That means it is going to run all the queries in a go. Control Shift Enter. Now do you see drop database if exist, I got a warning, and in the next statement it created it. Right? It did not stop here. So now if I refresh the schema, my sales database will be here. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now give a name that is short but at the same time related to the content of the data as possible. We should not be giving long names to the database. Now the SQL code is not case sensitive. So this is very good part, I would say, that you can write it in a small case, in the upper case, in a camel case, it will still work. It's not a case sensitive. Now in this element, I have already explained you that these codes are optional. Your SQL query will still run, but if you write it, it is a better way to write up long queries. Okay. Now last, the semicolon character. If you see, I have written the semicolon after every statement. Now it functions as a statement terminator. For SQL, SQL comes to know that, okay, this query from create database ends at the database underscore name, because I can write it in multiple lines. Drop database if exists, then I can hit enter. So starting from drop till sales, it's a one statement. So semicolon is very, very important. When your code contains more than a single statement, then semicolon is indispensable. It will help you to avoid error sometimes, plus it will also improve the readability of your code. Now you can read it from where this statement is starting. Make sense?
Yeah.